Welcome to the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Wes the Economist and Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist, coming to you live from the Wave Beach Realty Studios in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Call us today at 843-957-3872.
Happy New Year, and as we get the year started, let's get your financial picture in focus by getting a budget and getting those spending habits looked at. Reach out to me at coachwesc@gmail.com and we'll get you off to a good start. This segment brought to you by Eisenhower Dental. Reach out to them at 843-234-3110.
All right, guys, welcome back into episode 34 of the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Wes the Economist and Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist. On this episode, we're going to be talking about all these executive orders President Trump keeps throwing in every
24th. So by the time this airs on the, when is this going to air? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29th. I'm sure there'll be a lot more.
Yeah, I would imagine that. He's just, every day. I mean, he probably is. His back's probably sore from sitting in that desk so long signing at this point.
But they're talking about first night, he got like, 2 or 3 hours of sleep? You know, he went.
I think he only gets like 5
orders,
anyway.
He signed the orders on stage.
Yep.
About 10 or so or more?
Mm-hmm.
Went back and signed another 100 and some in the Oval Office while taking questions from the press. It's just so different than what we've been used to for the last 4 years. Even with Obama was not like Biden. He had all his faculties, but he never would talk to the press either.
Right.
And Trump always out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then ever since he signed all those, he's still been signing stuff.
Right. I know. It's crazy.
So
crazy.
What's first on your list? The first one he did was actually rescinding 78 executive orders that Biden just off the board. Like, I know these county.
Right. And I don't know what all he rescinded. I'm sure it was a lot of mess, but
it was just a lot of bureaucracy junk.
Yeah.
And let me get on record as we start this. I hate executive orders. This should not have to be done. We shouldn't have every 4 years a president stepping in and having to do all these executive orders. So Congress should get their butt back in gear and do what they're supposed to do and regulate.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The first one on my list, obviously this isn't in any specific order, but I guess this website that I'm using to go through them has them just kind of bundled together in different things because he did a lot of immigration executive orders.
Yes.
So the first one, which I think was necessary, is he declared a national emergency at the Mexico border. Obviously, that is a national emergency. There's a lot of issues going on down there. He designated MS-13 as a terrorist organization. A lot of these cartels, which means we can come after them with lethal force now.
And with the Army.
Which is great because the amount of drugs getting into this country is unreal, and they've been trying to fight this drug war since the 80s, and nothing has stopped. It's got worse and worse and worse and worse.
And that's
we're
because
spending money.
Some of our agencies are helping them.
Yeah.
What was that one time with the pilot that was flying stuff?
Yeah.
And the CIA got them doing stuff with the cartels so they can monitor them, but all these drugs were coming in. I mean,
the expense of people dying, overdosing on their drug. Yeah, it's the CIA. All that needs to be. Well, everybody knows about it. It's just like so much. They've done so much that people just overlook it and forget about it so quickly. Anyway,
scary.
Yeah, he suspended the U.S. Refugee Administration's program, the resettlements, I guess, and then nearly 1,660 Afghans cleared by the U.S. to resettle in the country had their flights canceled. And he ordered Homeland Security to terminate all categorical parole programs.
Was some of those, though, some of the people we promised to get out of there?
That I don't know.
And
I hope not.
I have seen some horror stories in people getting caught up in all this.
Yeah.
And
that's the problem when you do it this quickly is that you're going to run into a lot of issues up front. Now, hopefully they weed them out quickly, and the people that don't deserve that aren't. It's a hard thing to weed through, but
but we had to do it.
Yeah, on the greater scale, we're trying to protect American lives here. That's the ultimate goal. I mean, some people are going to be, a little left behind a little bit, and it's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah,
but,
and some people get caught up in it, but
the
thing is, more people get caught up with all the bad stuff going on. All these people coming across the border and all this killing a lot of people.
Right.
So that when you went through that, it was kind of funny to me that he invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act.
Yeah.
So all the way back to 1798.
Yeah, he went back. He went far back. Yeah, he's going all the way back. Yeah, they've been making a big deal out of some of these. The Remain in Mexico policy I like, where they're they're not releasing asylum seekers into the U.S. while their cases are being considered. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It's like, what if their case gets denied and they're in the U.S. and they're like, well, I know it's going to get denied, so now I'm just going to be in hiding.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, dude, you can't come here and live while we're.
The CBP One app was shut down. There's a lawsuit over that now.
Yeah.
Lawsuit after lawsuit, which he knew was coming.
They're all going to try to have a lawsuit against all of them.
I think that's what his part of his plan is. Okay, we're gonna get this shut down. We're gonna figure out what's illegal and what's not. We'll just do all this. You can spend all your time suing us.
Yeah,
we'll wrap it up in court. That's fine. Like the one you'll get to. Well, it's next, the birthright one. But let's see. Remain in Mexico also had to repeal, repatriate, or remove any alien engaged in the invasion of the southern border.
Yeah.
And that's been going on the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen horror stories about that, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all these people crying about these men getting arrested and sent back, but they don't talk about the crimes they committed even since they've been here.
Right.
It's like they don't care. It's like, oh, look what you're doing to that man, but that guy raped a 14-year-old.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand the philosophy anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, listen, I know that there's a lot of people that want to come here because, conditions in Mexico and some of these other countries are bad, and I want them to come here legally because we need more people actually overall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do.
So I'm happy with them coming here, and I'm glad that we can allow these people to come here. I'm glad the country's good enough that people want to come here, but at the same time, you can't just let anybody in and then say it's racist and whatever when they don't come in, and then when 20 people die because some terrorist that got slipped in through the cracks. And then you can't be outraged about it because you were fine with these people coming across. So unfortunately, there's a lot of bad people in Mexico that come across too. I'd say the majority are good, probably 95% of them. But those 5% that come across are cartel members and gang members.
What do they say? I've heard different numbers. 60 to 80% of all violent crime is committed by 5 or 10% of the population.
Yeah,
or 5% or less.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, so most of them coming in, just coming here for a better life, but you can't take the 5% with them.
Right, exactly. You got to weed that out, and
the 95% can do it the right way, then.
Yeah, and it'll take time, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, obviously, I was fortunate enough to be born here, so I didn't have to worry about going through that process, and I'm sure it sucks, but it is what it is.
You want to see some of the people who get the maddest. This has been a topic for a decade now, because when I first started teaching, this would come up in class, obviously, about the workforce and how many people coming in. And I remember this one boy, he and his family had come from Peru, I think, and they had spent 7 or 8 years through the process. And we got on that subject, and some American, and they're born here, got on, we shouldn't stop people from coming in on the border. He went ballistic.
Oh, man.
He thought it was so unfair. How could you say that? He did it the right way, and it took him all this time and do this, and they just saying anybody can come in. Oh, so I've seen people who have come through the process get more heated than anybody about just letting people in.
Right. Yeah. Well, because the people that have done it the right way, it's like, I went through all this for what? Because so other people can just get in illegally and then make us all look bad? Like, why would I want that? Yeah. So, so shout out to the people who, take the time to do it the right way. We want you here. I want you here. I want you to have a good life and be here and enjoy what we have in America. But when you sneak through, that also allows people to sneak through that shouldn't be here, that you're probably also getting away from, and they're following you in, and that causes problems, and we have to fix that, and it is what it is. And there's no simple solution for that. It just is what it is. And
I don't think it's a simple solution to anything we're in right now.
I don't think there's a simple solution to most of these problems, period. No. I don't because there's they cover such a broad, any of these, even all these executive orders, what they're trying to fix are all mass problems.
Yeah.
Because we've let little problems turn into big problems, and now none of it's an easy fix because you let stuff go too long for political correctness or whatever reason you're doing it. And now look where we're at. And look where we're at. We still got the stupid debt clock up. Look where we're at. You can leave it. You can leave it. It's fine. I'm just using it as an example, though. Like, look where we're at even in a financial crisis. Now this is a big problem.
How much is that it's caused by illegal immigration?
I don't know. There's probably a good chunk of it.
I would say, billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah. Money that we could be using for other things. Maybe some of that to, help the people in L.A. and North Carolina.
There you go.
But what do I know? Anyway.
The next one on your list is birthright. Is that where we're at? What's on your list?
That's part of the that's right. You're right. Birthright citizenship. Yep.
That's
a big one.
They were so upset about that one.
Yeah, so that means just people who are born here now, the people that it's already happened to, are they losing their birthright citizenship?
No,
or is it just going forward?
I'm pretty sure I don't think they would try to fight taking it away from everybody. Because literally
that'd be a lot of people.
There's a bunch of people around the world holding U.S. passports. So
right.
I think it's just going forward, but this is you would be told that this has been decided, but it's really not. That clause in there, it says under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Mm-hmm. Because if you are born, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're born outside the United States to 2 U.S. citizens, you're still a citizen, right?
I believe so. I think you can get dual citizenship though at where you were
well,
born.
It depends on the place.
Yeah, but I think so. Yeah,
and that would be political jurisdiction.
Yeah, right.
But what they're trying to define it as is territorial jurisdiction, which means that if you're born inside the United States, then you have. Then you can stay. Then you get a birthright, but that would then eliminate the other ones.
Right. I don't think that one's going to go through because you're kind of going against the Constitution at that point to an extent. That's going to be the argument.
Well, yeah. Where it's been interpreted in some cases as being born here,
right?
But there has not been the legal. My understanding from the legal scholars, obviously, I don't know, but legal scholars I've listened to say that it's not been put in stone that if you're born inside the country that you're actually a citizen.
Right.
Because no other country does that.
Right.
No other country will let you be a citizen just because you're born in their country.
Right.
They're the only country in the world that does.
Well, which it is. When you think about it, it's kind of crazy. I could get my wife pregnant and be like, oh, I really want my kid to grow up in Peru and sneak into Peru, and they're born there, and like, oh, I got it. My kid's a Peruvian citizen now. It's like, well, you kind of legally got here, and you're not supposed to be here. So all three of you are gone now.
Yeah.
So
that's how it is in every other country. But this political versus territorial to me is very interesting because it was put in place to make sure the slaves were citizens. But they were not under anybody else's political jurisdiction. They were under the U.S. political jurisdiction, but they also were here.
Right.
And then it's kind of got interpreted as long as you're born here territorially, then you're a citizen.
Yeah.
But what the executive order is saying is no, that term actually means political jurisdiction. And a illegal here is still under the political jurisdiction of the country they came from, not us. So therefore, they're not allowed to have a citizenship here for their children.
Yeah.
So the interpretation of the Constitution is the issue.
Yeah.
So how do you? Because they didn't. The writers of the 14th Amendment did not put political or territorial. They just pushed jurisdiction.
Right.
And there's been other parts of the Constitution where it's been interpreted different ways based on the wordage.
Right.
And that word's missing here.
I'd imagine when they wrote it, they didn't anticipate that many people coming here, and they probably like, hey, we're all here now. If you're born here, you have citizenship. I mean, it was probably just a very blanket. They probably foresaw some of the stuff that if the United States worked out the way they thought, maybe. But I don't think they ever thought that would be like what it is.
In the late 1800s, who wrote this had the intellectual prowess that our founding fathers did. Right. I think our founding fathers saw a lot more of the possibilities that could happen as we got into our history. And some of our history, our political leaders were so dumb, I can't even understand how they got anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a history teacher in high school. Her husband, I forget what her husband did, but he honestly thought that it was amazing. He had some term for it, divine proposition. I don't know what it was, but basically that something special had to come together for our founding fathers all to be in that same place at the same time with their intellect they had.
Oh.
And haven't seen that in the world since.
Oh,
basically.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And when you think about it and you look at what they did, it really does make sense. I mean, it's we literally have not had that prowess, intellectuals forming or doing anything in our government since then. Now, people in Washington now think they are, but
they're not. They're not very bright.
Not at all.
They're just people who have enough. They're smooth and slick enough to get into power. By the way they talk, they're good salesmen. Is what they are.
That's exactly right.
Eisenhower Dental, located at 107 Waccamaw Medical Park Drive in Conway. A place where you can find all your dental services, including general dentistry, cosmetic, restorative, and pediatric dentistry. Reach out to them today at their website, eisenhowerdental.com, or call them at 843-234-3110, 843-234-3110, and tell them Wes the Economist sent you.
When life gets unpredictable, turn to a partner you can trust. At Bobby Clary State Farm, we've got you covered. Whether it's home, auto, or life insurance, we're dedicated to providing personalized coverage that fits your needs. With our friendly and knowledgeable team, navigating your insurance options have never been easier. Visit bobbyclary.com or call 843-438-6000. Bobby Clary State Farm, here to help life go right. Are you looking to buy a home in North or South Carolina? You need to reach out to Wave Beach Realty today. We are a family-owned company with over 10 years of experience in North and South Carolina and operate along the Grand Strand. Give us a call today at 843-957-3872. That's 843-957-3872. Thanks for listening to the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist and Wes the Economist. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and X at DollarsCentsGS and on Facebook at Dollars and Cents.
This part of the show is brought to you by Clark Financial Coaching. Reach out to us at coachwesc@gmail.com. That's coachwesc@gmail.com to get a free consultation to help you get your financial picture in focus.
So that one obviously has already been challenged in the court. I've seen some Democratic AGs all up in arms about it, telling him he's going against the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's always against the Constitution when it doesn't say what you want it to say, so we'll see what happens. I know one of my family members posted on Facebook, and I never post anything back on Facebook, and this one was really hard not to post back on because the comment, this relative, he's very smart. He's a doctor, actually. But he made the comment, well, please explain to me which part of the Constitution is divine and which one can be interpreted. And I wanted to write back and say, nobody's ever said the Constitution was divine.
Right.
The Declaration of Independence, and he said something about these rights or whatever. And even in the Constitution, when they talk about the rights, the Bill of Rights, that's not where it says unalienable rights. That's the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And even there, it just said we hold these rights to be self-evident. So when they define the rights in the Constitution, and especially in Amendment 1 and 2, it's not defining the rights. It's basically saying, hey, these rights are there. We can't do anything about it.
Right.
They're not giving it to us in the First and Second Amendment, Third and Fourth, whatever. As you go through, they're just saying those are already there. There's nothing the government can do to take them away.
Right. Yeah.
So people misunderstand that. They put all this thought into the document where we really need to look at what was meant by it and how it's written. And this is one of those things I think will go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It definitely will. Yeah.
Man, we've only got a few done.
I know.
He's been busy.
We can rattle through the next one pretty easily. It's pretty straightforward. The Energy and Environment Executive Orders, the national emergency, so they can drill the oil mainly in Alaska.
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. I'm fine getting our oil. Because all the infrastructure to drill is already there. So from what I've heard, and I'm assuming this is right. Maybe it's not. Maybe people can tell me I'm wrong on this, but there's nothing now. Everything's in place where it shouldn't negatively affect the environment around it. Like they're not going to be killing polar bears and
no. They for decades now they haven't done that.
Yeah.
I mean, we drill and bring up the cleanest oil in the world.
Yeah,
that was part of the issue. We were going to these countries to get petroleum we needed because we stopped production here, and they were making worse. They were hurting the environment more by us getting it from them.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. It's not in our country, so we're not worried.
Yeah.
It goes along with that next one, paused offshore wind leasing in federal waters.
Yeah.
That's one issue that bothers me. There's so much evidence that these windmills
are causing environmental
causing whale deaths.
Yeah, they were making fun of Trump for saying that.
I'm not saying that they are, but there's more evidence for that than a lot of the crap that y'all talk about.
Yeah, well, I heard there was actually somebody on, because after Trump was on Rogan's podcast, he brought that up. And then Rogan had somebody on like a week later who was like a scientist or something. He was something that was had the credibility to talk about these things. And he was saying, no, he was like, it sounds silly, but he's like, what Trump's talking about, like the whales are washing up because it does something affects their sonar. And so they're like washing up and it's killing them. And he said, and then a lot of these windmills, they break down and they're, all the stuff you have to get rid of is bad for them. He's like, none of these, they just don't work. They don't work correctly. So Trump is right about that. I mean, the way he talks about it kind of sounds silly. Sometimes he's like, oh, they're killing the whales. All the whales are dying.
They're eating the cats.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're breaking into the country.
That's another story. I hadn't heard anything else about in Ohio. What happened with all the Haitians?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe the bus pulled up and took them out. I don't know. Let's see. The Paris Climate Treaty, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement.
Yep. And then writing a letter. It was interesting that it was one for that, and the executive order was writing a letter to the United Nations telling them that we did it.
Yeah.
I was like, why do we We don't report.
I don't know. Maybe just as like like kind of how you got to give a 2-week notice to your employer. Maybe it's just some type of something like that. I like what was crazy. I thought because him and Elon are so close, he revoked that 2021 executive order that set a goal for 50% of the U.S. vehicle sales to be electric by 2030. He got rid of that.
Yeah, so
he's like, yeah, you can buy whatever car you want, which is silly. Like you can't force everybody to go electric and say it's better for the environment. Yeah, it's and I have a Tesla for the record.
And California is still going to do it.
Yeah,
they're still trying to get rid of combustible engines. Yeah, no, but that's because you want a Tesla. You told me how you use it. I'm envious in the summer because you just leave your car running.
Yeah,
your AC's always on. I mean,
yeah. Well, even the heat's always. I mean, not always on, but I hit a button on my app and like my car's never cold when I get in.
Yeah,
you know. So it's very convenient for what I do, but I don't think everybody should have to drive a Tesla because I have one, or because I think it's better for the environment. Because when I have to dispose of that battery, it's going to be just as bad as the.
Oh yeah, if not worse.
Yeah.
And let's face it, most people won't be able to afford a Tesla, so they're going to end up in these cheap EVs. They'll be pieces of crap.
Yeah, like Priuses and all this mess.
This little snowstorm we had here in South Carolina, if everybody had EVs, there'd be a lot of cars sitting on the side of the road.
Correct. Yeah. They're not always practical. No, I would never say that. Mine's all-wheel drive, and it did fine. I drove out one night. Well, that video I sent you that it was snowing pretty good. It was I was driving like 5 miles an hour down the highway because I couldn't see anything. I was like, this might have been a dumb idea, but for the sake of the podcast, baby. But yeah, it was. It drove fine through that. But no, like batteries don't like cold weather, so the mileage I get with a very cold battery is it drops by a lot, and that's just anything with batteries.
Tesla again. I think Tesla. If he's made his cars, they'll handle stuff like this because he did some real research. But some of this other stuff they're putting out,
they're just trying to keep up with everybody else, keeping up with the Joneses, and like, oh, we need an electric car, So it's a lot of it's junk. So no, I'm glad he did that because nobody should be forced to. I get if you're trying to move towards electric because maybe it's more sustainable in the long run because one day we won't have the non-renewable resource of fuel. I mean, unless you find something else to fuel it with that's renewable.
See, there's one branch of science that says that fossil fuel is not really fossil fuel. Have you ever read this?
I haven't.
That it only takes decades to make petroleum, not millions of years.
That could be right. I don't know. I'd have to do some research.
And that's why we keep finding. That's why we keep finding more and more "quote unquote" deposits because it's always regenerated. It may be a renewable source too.
What's crazy to me is like how much fuel that we use every day in petroleum across the world that they haven't run out. I mean, it's got to be renewable. You would think that it is renewable as much as they're drilling and finding it. It's like, I mean, how do you have
years ago it'd never last.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a tactic just to get people to pay more for fuel. Like that was like a Shell oil company and Exxon did the research. It's like, oh yeah, this isn't renewable. We're gonna run out of this. Ding ding ding. Like supply and demand, baby.
Could be
conspiracy theory.
As I've told you before, I hate these large companies. So
yeah, conspiracy theory right there.
We need to make a list. We gotta get one.
That's a good one. That's a good one about fuel maybe being renewable. That's probably down the rabbit hole, and I'm probably wrong about it. But
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just getting science. One thing about science. Somebody said, who was I listening to about science? And it was like, that's what science is. It tells you what is and what's not. Like, well, it tries to, but at the same time, it always open to reinterpret itself and finding new stuff. That's the thing about science. You're always exploring.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, well, I think we talked about this before, to treat a cold or treat some sickness back in the 1700s, what did you do? You bled people. You cut them and let the bad blood out. I mean, come on. I mean, what if we stop there?
Right, exactly.
So this idea of, okay, we can't do any more research, can't do any more because that's just bad stuff. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we become more efficient with fuel. We've become new. So
yeah, science
I would love to see us get to more types of energy too. I think solar will eventually be something we can use, but you got to turn the innovation loose and you got to be profitable to find ways to do it.
Yep.
I may have told you one time, this has been 20 or 25 years ago, so maybe it was sort of false news, but maybe it was false news. But some company had come up with these solar panel bricks that you could make roads out of.
Mm-hmm.
And literally the idea was you could put these, they were like puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You could make a road like an interstate with them. They were durable, more durable than asphalt. Cheaper to put down than asphalt over the long haul because of how long they last. Obviously, that front cost was higher. And if one panel went bad, you just took it out and put another one in.
Oh.
But you drove on it, but the whole time the sun's up, all these roads are generating energy out of them.
Oh, that's cool.
But I never saw anything else about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if somebody bought it and pigeonholed it if it was false news. But if it was not correct, it was false news, I would think there's something there to it that you could probably figure out.
Yeah, and even Nikola Tesla was when he was doing an experiment on energy, he had a way that you could generate energy naturally, like generate electricity naturally. He was like doing all these studies on it, and then they shut him down. The government came in and shut him. I actually want to do more research on that and do an episode on that one day, because he was an interesting guy, a little weird, but he had like he had found a way to harness energy where you didn't need Santee Cooper or electric.
No, you actually transmitted it through the
It was something crazy. Yeah, it was something crazy, and then they took all of his stuff and it shut him down, and then he ended up just kind of going nutty like some of these guys do. And but I want to do more research on that. I'm sure most of that stuff's probably shut down on the internet where they took all that off, but they don't want us to know how to generate our own electricity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're selling some of the TikTok phones for like $50,000 on eBay right now. Like they'll wipe their phone, just leave because you can't download the TikTok app in the store right now. Until somebody you can still use TikTok now, but the app's not available in the store until they reach an agreement on selling it. So people that got mad and deleted the TikTok app, now they're like wanting to buy a phone with the TikTok app on it. So people are selling them. I might do it on mine because I have I might just clear my phone, leave the TikTok app, sell it on eBay for $50,000, and go buy me a new iPhone. I don't need TikTok. Yeah.
Wow, I don't have TikTok. I wish I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never downloaded it.
Yeah. Anyway, so where are we at here? Okay, so executive orders targeting DEI and transgender Americans. These are a big one. Yeah.
Really hot.
Sexes are not changeable.
Recognize two sexes, male and female.
These sexes are not changeable and are grounded in fundamental and incontrovertible. I've never seen that word before. Incontrovertible. Huh. Okay. Well, so a word a little bit above my head. Transgender Americans were a central target of Trump's often hyperbolic and outright false campaign trail messaging. He also rescinded a Biden administration provision that allowed transgender people to serve in the military. I don't know about that. I mean, if you're able to fight in the military, I don't know about that one, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if you can fight in the military, you can fight in the military. I don't think if you pass the test to get in, I don't know why you'd shut anybody out of the military if they're willing to fight for the country.
Yeah,
that's neither. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to die on that hill. Let's see.
So you also got rid of the equal opportunity order from Lyndon Johnson in 1955.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if I can get rid of the equal opportunity logo on the front of my cards that I have to equal house. I'm not doing that. No, I mean I'll sell a house to anybody. I do not care what you look like. If you want to buy a house and you're a nice person and we mesh, I will sell you a house.
I wonder how many clients you've lost since you started doing dollars and cents.
Oh, I'm sure I've lost some clients, but I'm not saying anything. I mean, I know we talk about some controversial topics, but it's not like either one of us are radical and talk about off the rocker or anything. So. People that disagree with me, if I have a client that disagreed with something I said on my podcast and they wanted to talk about it, I'd have an open discussion with them. But people that are just mad and listen to something I say and then are like, I'm not working with him because of his beliefs, we probably wouldn't have got along anyway, in my opinion. Because I have no problem with a lot of my clients that have been Democrat, we've talked about certain things like that. I could tell they were a Democrat. Didn't bother me one bit. They were nice people. We worked well together. They got the house they wanted. Everything was fine. Everything was smooth. I don't care. Welcome to South Carolina. Yeah. I can disagree with people on plenty of things and still do business with them. So, if you don't like that I have a podcast and I talk about things that are on my mind that don't go with your beliefs, then if that makes you not want to work with me, then that's okay. If I lose money over, I'm willing to lose money over talking about being able to speak freely and talk about things that are on my mind without, if I have to lose money over that, then fine. It is what it is. So, yeah.
We got
let's see
3 or 4 different more sections to go through. We're at 26 minutes.
We're probably gonna have to do a double. We'll probably have to do. Yeah, let's see.
So we'll continue this on Friday.
Yeah, we'll knock out one more real quick because this is a pretty quick one. The one I'm making federal workers go back to the office. So we'll do that one real quick. That's the easy one we can talk about for a minute, and then we'll hop on to and we'll save the rest for Friday.
Okay. Yeah, there's some people upset about that too. I think is there a lawsuit on that one too?
I don't know. I'm sure they're going to try to find a lawsuit, but like if you're, they made a good point. Like if you're a federal worker and you want to make money off taxpayer money for working for the government, you should have to show up to the office.
Yeah.
Working from home. Listen, I'm somebody that can work from home. but I'm not nearly as productive at the house as I am when my office setup in my house is the same as my office setup in here with the double monitor. Everything's the same, but I have TV around me. I have food. I have other people in the house. You're not as productive at the house. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you live alone and you lock yourself in that office from 9 to 5 and can't let yourself out, you're not as productive at the house as you are in an office setting. So, and not everybody, but I'd say the majority of people that would apply to.
I would think so.
And if you work for the government and you have an office job, you should have to show up to the office. And if that's a problem, then then just go find a job that definitely you could work remote.
DOGE has found that over 50% of the space the federal government owns in offices are not being used at this time.
Yeah, just a waste of taxpayer money because we're paying the.
I read one article where a couple who both work for the federal government just had a baby, and they were all upset because they were both being called back to the office place, and now she had to find somebody to watch her child. That's everybody's life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everybody. Why would a federal employee get a different life than we've got? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So, I mean, if my tax money is going to pay you, I'd prefer that you're at the office most of the time.
Yeah. So I would agree.
Anyway, all right.
Well, on Friday?
Yeah, we'll see you guys on Friday and go over hopefully most of the rest of these executive.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
Mortgage payment, insurance payment, credit card payments. They can be very overwhelming. Are you ready to take the time to get things under control? Then reach out to me at Clark Financial Coaching to see if we can get you started with a budget and then a vision for the future. Write me at coachwesc@gmail.com. That's coachwesc@gmail.com. Want to know more about economics? Then look for my podcast, Econ Sense, in Apple and Spotify, or reach out to me at wes.the.economist@gmail.com. It's wes.the.economist@gmail.com.
Are you looking to buy a property in North or South Carolina and need financing assistance? Give Motto Mortgage Coastal Pros a call today. We specialize in residential loans in both North and South Carolina and can meet all your residential home loan needs. Give us a call today at 843-957-3872. That's 843-957-3872. Thanks for listening to the Dollars and Cents Podcast with Jonathan the Conspiracy Theorist and Wes the Economist. Feel free to reach out to us on email with any feedback or any topics you want to hear on the show at dollarscentsgs@gmail.com. That's dollarscentsgs@gmail.com.